the end of the day, we have one thing in common, and that's the fact that we're all human.
Yeah.
We're all human at the end of the day.
That's true.
There are certain things, certain truths about being human that we all experience, I think.
I did not expect this at all. I didn't
I
expect
know, now we're like
Look at
going
you.
into the world and
Wow.
philosophy and existential
Do you talk like this to a lot of people, or do you talk pretty deep?
I
I'm
talk
sorry,
like
keep
this to
doing
my...
it in your face.
I know, I was like...
So what's your name? Oh, yeah.
It's kind of long.
Okay, you can give me the real name or a fake name, doesn't matter.
My name is Mahpara, but I also go by Sophia. That's my middle name.
Okay.
So
Mahpara,
it's two
Sophia.
options. Yes.
And where are you from?
Like where was I born or
Yeah,
ethnicity?
where were you born?
Detroit, Michigan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You said you traveled a lot, right?
Yes.
Where have you been?
Well, I've been to like, most of my traveling was in the past 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I've been to like over 20 countries, like most.
You beat me. I think I've only done 15.
Oh, okay. What's one of your favorite countries?
That's so many.
Okay,
so
tell
many.
me, just rattle them off. I want to know.
I was just talking to somebody earlier and they asked me what I would recommend. I actually recommended Croatia.
Oh, okay. I haven't been.
You haven't been to that one?
Been to Serbia, but I mean, just like, it was just a
Close.
layover.
An incredible value because like coffee's actually only like $3, not $9.
Yeah, see, I like.
You know, so
I
imagine
do
3
like-
more coffees
yeah,
instead
I
of
like when the
one.
American dollar goes really far.
Exactly. So considering that, like the overall experience is pretty amazing because you don't need to have a lot of money to have a really good time in Croatia.
Okay.
So I love that. For like about 20-ish, 25-ish days, I've been in Dubai.
Oh, really?
I love
been to
Dubai.
yet.
I love
Okay.
Dubai.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like, so part of this.
I would consider living in Dubai.
Really?
Yeah, I would
Okay.
consider living in
That's
Dubai.
interesting.
So that's why I probably went there for such the extended amount of time to kind of check it out.
Well, I don't know if this is relevant for you, but so I started this travel channel and I was traveling, and then I converted to Islam along the way. And so,
No way!
Yeah.
This is so wild! Because that's one of the biggest reasons why I was considering Dubai was because,
Really?
I mean, I love Los Angeles and I feel like Dubai has a very Los Angeles vibe with it being like the whole desert, but they're trying to put all this water and like palm trees. You know, I mean, they created it out of nothing. But I was born and raised as a Muslim, so
Really?
yeah. So and actually, Detroit is really close to Dearborn, which is the largest Muslim
Dearborn.
population of America.
Really?
And I think like as I've gotten older and stuff, even though you know, I think we all have our own flavors of how we follow religion
Sure, of
and
course.
how we connect to that, you know, deeper relationship and everything. But I like the fact that Dubai is still predominant, like it's run by, like it's Islamic. It's still an Islamic nation.
Okay.
And I feel like sometimes here I miss that.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
can imagine. I mean, for me, I'm an outsider, so I mean, I just converted less than a year ago. So I'm learning really fast, but I'm also learning mostly from the Indonesian culture, which is a very specific experience.
Yeah, different cultures also
Yeah.
have their different flavors of religion.
Yeah.
But I honestly think even individuals, like we just have different ways we follow everything at the end of the day. You know, so it's kind of just what resonates. But like for me, it's a very practical religion, whether I follow all the rules or not. I mean, I don't dress conservatively,
sure.
you know,
Of course.
but there's certain values and stuff that I really love about it, and it makes sense, and I find it like a good little compass.
Well, the way I was introduced to it, I majored in history and my focus was on Islam. And I chose that because that was what I knew least about. So it was just random at the time. That was before September 11th. And that's kind of why I chose it. And
Amazing.
so I know a significant amount about the history, but I didn't know the culture. And then so like I have an uncle who was in the military, and then his wife was like grilling me and saying, "Oh, so you studied Islam? Did you know that?" Blah 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 blah. And I was like, "No, that's not what we read about."
There's a lot of there's actually a lot of false beliefs. You know, I think because 9/11 affected it a lot too, you know.
Yeah.
Before, you know, first impressions are kind of important for people. A lot of people don't have a different impression of Islam before 9/11. that's their first impression of Islam.
And that was
And I
not
think
my
that
first
that
impression, so
induces
made-
a lot of
It affected
fear.
me, no doubt.
And then it blocks people off from wanting to even learn. And I think, you know, even me going through a young age, I think it affected me. Even though that wasn't my first experience with it, but, you know, and thankfully I was in a sheltered environment with a lot of Muslims, but I can only imagine what it was like for Muslims in America that were living in more isolation when that event happened, because suddenly you're the evil guy and no one knows anything about you, but you're just, you're, you know, we don't know. And then we're also still products of our environment, so if you keep being treated like, you know, like it's just like people don't know you and they kind of treat you kind of because they don't know.
Right.
There's a fear of the things that people don't know.
Exactly.
And, you know, even like out here, it's kind of just like, I think I'm like the only Muslim friend most of my friends have had. And sometimes, you know, when I started looking for a serious relationship, I was like, I think I want a Muslim partner for my long term. And my friends were so shocked. They're like, no, you're not even Muslim though. And I'm like, I'm also the only Muslim friend you have. So you don't know what Muslims are really like. You're just looking at me, you're like, you're not Muslim though. And I'm like, actually, I'm more Muslim than you think, because Muslims are of all kinds too. Just like there's Christians of all kinds, Jews of all kinds. There's people that are more traditional, orthodox, conservative, whatever. And then there's still more liberal interpretations that are more poetic and things like that as well. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've digressed. We're like going so deep into religion now.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to do. But you know, it's hard to tell people. I just want to talk about religion. By the way, are you Muslim? No, no, I have no idea. I would never have guessed with you. But so what? How old were you when you came here to LA?
When I came to LA.
You don't have to say the age. How many years ago?
LA, I came in 2020.
Oh, okay, 5 years. Oh, right. In the beginning of the pandemic. So it's kind of weird.
Not a good time to be living alone as a girl.
What drew you to LA? So.
Oh, I always wanted to come to LA.
Uh-huh.
What sucked is I made a pit stop in Texas beforehand. That was rough.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was an interesting life experience.
What city? I've never been to
Odessa.
Texas. Well, tell me. Okay, so. You know, I have bigoted thoughts myself, and for me, I'm like, I'm never going to Texas for the rest of my life.
No, but Odessa is a different breed of Texas. Texas is like a country. California is a country.
Yes, exactly.
They're honestly countries. Once you have that much geographic distance within a border, it's a country.
It's
because
like Egypt.
People
and
can
Turkey,
form their own pockets of culture and whatnot. Like San Francisco is so different from LA. So when people are like, whether you love or hate California, it's like, well, what part? Because each part has its own. Even Newport, an hour or two down, has its own entire vibe.
Yeah,
and so Texas
totally.
Is like similar. So I enjoyed my time in Houston, and Dallas I felt like was okay. I had fun in Austin, but I was staying in Odessa, and Odessa is like the middle of nowhere, hours away from the mall. And at the time it was like 90% male population because of oil rig workers, and I didn't do my research before accepting a job out there. Just young and naive mistakes that you learn not to make in life later on. You should research places before you move there.
Oh, so you had a lot of did you have some issues there, some problems?
It's
or just you hear people talk and how they think. Was that what it was?
I think the 90% male population is intimidating for a girl living alone.
Okay. Yeah, because for a guy, if it's 90% women, to be like, oh, like.
There's a whole different culture with that. Yeah. So, anyways, I got out of there. I did, and then I came here, which is where I do want to be. So that's great.
And are you planning to stay? Like, for how many more years? Do you indefinitely or? Well, you're talking about Dubai, so maybe.
I think I'm very open-minded. I think I just really do love nature. So anywhere there's like beautiful natural views, I adore. I also like places that have a lot of opportunity.
Okay.
Just because it keeps it exciting and adventurous. But I also think that we're like coming more and more into like a global culture of sorts. Like the world is becoming more internally enmeshed. And I don't feel like we ever have to tie ourselves down to one place.
I read you so wrong. When I saw you, I was thinking, like, should I talk to her? It's like, she seems kind of into herself.
She seems like, what? No.
I'm sorry. No, but it's like,
I am an introvert.
You're kind of academic.
I am an introvert, though. So I don't know if that means I'm
Really?
into myself, but I do.
Okay.
Like I like.
Maybe
I like,
that's what I
like
misread.
to be. Yeah, like I'm introspective, but not like.
But not like, oh, look
into
at me.
myself. Like,
Okay.
just
You were
like
at the beach. in
I
Santa
clearly
Monica,
think.
And I forgot.
I like to
that
think.
We're right by the pier.
Yeah, and it's like, well, it's also
This
like
is what
it's a
people
beautiful
do.
place to like reflect. And,
Yeah.
You know, the water.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, so my first, the first Muslim country I went to was Egypt, and it was just for a few days. And right
I still
before I
haven't
left,
been to Egypt yet.
oh, it's amazing. That's my favorite country in the world.
Really?
Yeah. Well, now when I went there, it was my least favorite because it was shocking to me. It was, and I studied Islam in college, right? But like the culture and like seeing men like walking like without stopping in the middle of the freeway. That's the way people walk there. They cross the
No.
freeway. It's nuts.
No.
It's so crazy.
Oh,
It's
that's
so
wild.
scary. That was like so initial like shock. And
Whoa.
then you know, Middle Eastern culture is like, well, where's your family from?
My family's from Bangladesh.
Oh, really?
But I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I got to remember. I forgot that word.
The Middle Eastern
This
culture.
is going to be online potentially. So, yeah.
Well, you'll be able to like edit and like try to find the parts that make sense and are coherent.
Yeah, but like I think Middle Eastern culture is intense because it's an old culture.
You can post the whole thing. No, I'm kidding. Make it an hour long. Somebody's gonna watch it. You'll get your views. You'll get your minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know how it goes. Yeah, so it's like that's what I figure. It's intense, and like I met a Christian man and Coptic in Egypt. And he was the same way. It's the culture, and like Israelis are kind of the same way. They're intense. There's an intention.
Yeah.
It's not religions.
No.
It's the culture.
It's the culture. I think it's also like it's just passion. A lot of passion. I think all of the how should I say this? More of the closer we get to that like Holy Land. I think the people are passionate and it runs in the blood, right? I mean, they've been there a long time, like ancient civilizations. There's so many stories involved with everything. It's a point of tension to be neighbors with such differing views and beliefs and all these wars that happen. Like, I mean, their generations and their bloodline has been through so much trauma, I think, over people fighting over land. You know, it's kind of insane to think about how much they've experienced generationally, and I'm one of those people where like from a spiritual standpoint I think that we carry that, you know. I mean, you have a mom and a dad that lived through the war, you have a mom and dad that lived through Holocaust, and they're the ones raising you, and the emotions transfer, I think.
Yes. Yeah,
you know,
there's
that's
genetic
the
evidence.
like the viewpoints, the emotions, everything's like so deeply ingrained, and it keeps moving forward. And I believe that all of these people that have like these more intense personalities, it's not always from a place of harm or malicious intent. I think it's from a place of passion, because they come from a group of people who's had to fight.
There's been a lot
you
of
know,
trauma.
but like they've come from a group of people that have had to fight for their rights to just be sometimes.
And you know, it's funny because like, well, I mean, we can jump around a different, but like the narrative right now, what's happening in Gaza is changing. And like, I was thinking, like, how do you address that? How do you get people to change? But then there was, I don't know if you know who Tucker Carlson is. He's like, because you said you're not really up to speed on everything.
Sometimes I feel like it's because I'm so like, I think so deeply about things sometimes, and I feel so sensitive. Sometimes all the information is too much for me to keep up with. I'm like, you know, in a way, we're also human beings, and it's not that I want to be ignorant, but it's like, how much can we all handle? You know, once upon a time, you didn't have to know everything in the world and live every day.
Exactly. No, you're right.
You know, and it's a lot. It's a weight. It is.
You're right, and that's something that I have to like grapple with because. So I live part-time in a village in Indonesia. And so part of that is because I see the value of living a traditional life, of like, and it took me
a simpler life, yeah.
I was an atheist and then agnostic and, focused on science.
Yeah, it was a journey.
That path led me to
because of
being
like
religious.
yeah,
Then I
yeah,
realized,
it brings you all back.
Yes.
It's kind of, I did the same thing.
Funny.
I did the same thing. Like, you know, I mean, I was born and raised religious, but I mean, you don't choose it yet. I
Right.
feel like you have to almost come back and choose it, because you can't just be instilled with it and then, you know, I mean, some people can, I guess. I was always more curious, more, you know, of an independent thinker. And then, you know, I do love science. I work in medicine, I work in healthcare.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
yeah, and so you know, but then it's like you study, like science is coming, and I feel like we're at an exciting time where like science and spirituality are really getting bridged together, because of like science and like the belief and everything that's coming out about the quantum and all these things, the way how particles work, energy, all of that. And then it's like comes back to, again, all these things that spirituality was always trying to teach us too, you know?
Yeah, you're right. In a lot of ways, that's happening in different areas, because, like you're saying, like you feel like it gets passed down, that trauma in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And literally, they found out, like it was like 10, 15 years ago, after I went to college, but I was like keeping up with the new stuff, and they found out genetically they figured out that it alters your DNA the way it's expressed, but
Yeah,
in a
of
way
course.
that's passed down to 2 generations.
Yeah.
So if
Oh, wow,
you-
too.
if you
That's
have-
cool. I mean, not like, but I'm
Yeah,
saying like
it's amazing
scientifically,
to
it's
know,
how,
right?
yeah, because I mean, I'm like, for sure it's getting coded in the DNA, because we can change our own DNA too, I think, through like meditation.
And that's true,
And you
right?
can
Obviously,
reset
yeah,
things.
yeah.
You can definitely reset things. Like
Right.
we also, with our mind, can recreate and reprogram quite a bit, I think, which is remarkable. But I just wanted to say real quick too, because you had mentioned when you studied, that's when you got exposed to Islam. But like for me, it was like a different thing, where because I was in world history around high school and college
Really?
too, so I got exposed to all of the religions, and I remember I was gravitating more towards like Buddhism, you know. So like I was like, oh, I like Buddhism.
Because I don't know what it is. It could just be a natural human inclination, or being from the United States. Buddhism sounds so, because it's like, it seems like it's freedom. I don't know, at least to me.
Peaceful.
Very peaceful.
Very
Yeah.
peace-seeking. Yeah, and I loved the peace, the Zen. I mean, who says no to Zen, you know? So I liked that. And then it's funny, because then I feel like ultimately, though, as I learned more and more, it still brought me back to Islam again.
Yes,
Like
yes.
I actually had a whole arc,
Interesting.
because then I actually, this is exclusive information, because if my family ever knew, no, I'm kidding. In 2020, I actually converted to Christianity.
Really?
Even though in like high school I wanted to be a Buddhist, and then in 2020 I converted to Christianity, and then around 2024, 25 I dated a Jewish man for a really long time.
Really?
And so I learned a lot more about Judaism, and so I actually went back and I read the whole story, because
yeah?
I loved it, because it's like technically Islam is like the third part
Yes.
of the 2 parts preceding it, which
Exactly,
the original
yeah.
was Judaism, and then it was Christianity, and then it was Islam.
Yeah.
So I've always challenged even like my fellow, you know, like Muslim community to be like, you know, why would you only read the Quran? Because that's like you're reading only part 3.
That's true. No, that's
You
right.
gotta read part 1, and then you gotta see, okay, no, the part 2 is like a revision, right? So part 1, part 2, like here we are in like the human history, and then part 3, right? And that's where it all kind of came along. And that's like in terms of the monotheistic plot line. And then we have Hinduism and Buddhism and all these other kinds of like, you know, it's not necessarily about monotheistic practice, but there's still that spirituality component, or it's polytheistic or whatever. But it's just kind of like, to me, it's like humans are all just trying to figure out this central core, and we keep coming back to it. I feel like you might
really be
everybody's got
interested
their
in going to India. I haven't been to India yet, but that's like.
I haven't been to
next.
India either. Isn't
But
that surprising?
Indonesia is like, there's a lot
I
of
know.
interaction between Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism.
Yeah, and so Bangladesh is similar. I think
Oh,
because
okay.
it's right next to
Oh,
each
that's
other.
right,
They're
yeah, yeah,
neighbors, so
okay.
it's the same area.
Have you been
I
there?
do think it's like yeah, of course. And so I feel like it is kind of like a central crossroads of sorts, South Asia can be. And it's kind of interesting, because I do feel like, you know, the more I learned too about my culture's approach to religion, I realized I was like, you know, it is still enmeshed. Like different parts of different cultures still kind of came through. different parts
Yeah.
of different
Right,
religions
exactly,
even
yeah.
came through in the practice, you know? Even though everybody calls themselves Muslim, it's a form of Islam that they're following. And like, at least in South Asia, I do feel like there's definitely like celebration and how should I say this? Like, just like practices of Hinduism and Buddhism that are kind of intertwined still.
Yes.
You almost can't get rid of it, because it's like, then people will say that's part of the culture. Maybe not the religion, but the culture, and we do both.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, where do we draw these lines?
Ooh,
But
let's
I
go to
mean,
Bangladesh.
India will do.
Why you don't want me to go to Bangladesh?